Hey, what's up? My name is Ryan with Cloudmancer. I'm an AWS certified solutions architect and developer. And today, with just a few lines of code, I'm going to show you how you can deploy an Amazon S3 bucket using the AWS CDK. Let's jump in. All right, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to make a directory and we're going to call it S3 deploy. We're going to CD into that directory and then we're going to initialize the project with CDK app init app -- language equals TypeScript. The CDK actually comes in a number of different languages. My favorite just happens to be TypeScript because I'm most comfortable using that. We'll just wait a couple seconds for this to finish initializing. All right, now that that's finished, we can jump on into the code here. The first thing we'll look at is in the bin. This will be actually the name of our CloudFormation stack, and we can see that it is just a new S3 deploy stack. Let's just name that because that's what we called the folder when we initialized it. We go into the lib directory here. We can see this is actually where the resources for the stack will be defined. If you're familiar with CloudFormation, stack is just a reference to a CloudFormation stack. So the first thing we can do here, I don't actually like importing the entire CDK if we don't need it. So we'll actually destructure this and we will import just stack and stack props. Now we can go here and we can delete both of these and we can get rid of all of this code as well. So the first thing we're going to do here is import a couple things from the S3 library. The first being bucket and the second being block public access. We're going to need both of these for the settings that we're going to configure on our S3 bucket. The final thing that we're going to import is actually up here in the AWS CDK lib, and it will be called removal policy. All right, so now we're ready to start making our bucket. We'll go down here into our stack and we'll declare const bucket equals new bucket. TypeScript is pretty cool because it tells you what to expect on each of these constructs. The first thing it will expect is the scope. The scope is just referencing the stack in which the bucket is going to be deployed into. In this case, it's just this. The next will be the logical resource name. This is local only to the CDK stack. Just like in a CloudFormation template, you have references to local resources when you name them. We're just going to call this S3 bucket. This is not the actual name of the bucket though. We're going to declare that here right now. First thing we'll put in is the bucket name. We'll call that Cloudmancer bucket and then a few different numbers. The reason why we do that is because S3 buckets need to be globally unique. So you probably won't be able to name it something just like test bucket. We're going to also bring in that block public access, where we just reference the block public access object, which has a property on it called block all. This just makes sure that no one can access your bucket except for you or people in your account that have the proper IAM permissions. The final thing that we're going to do is the removal policy. We're just going to again reference that removal policy object and reference one of the static attributes and call destroy. This will just make sure that when we go to destroy our CloudFormation stack later, that it actually does delete the bucket. For some reason with the CDK, buckets are not automatically deleted. So we're going to go ahead and enable this. All right, so that looks pretty good. We can go back down into our terminal here and we can just do CDK deploy. I'm going to do the optional profile flag here because I do have a few different AWS accounts that I have configured, but I want to use specifically the one that I use for this YouTube channel. All right, so that looks good. And we'll go ahead and wait a few minutes for this to deploy. All this does is create a CloudFormation template on the back end, which then deploys your resources into AWS. All right, so now that that's finished, let's go ahead and look at the AWS console here. All right, now that we're here in the console, we can refresh our buckets. And now we can see that new Cloudmancer bucket with the numbers on it that we just created. We can click into that. We can see that we do have versioning enabled because we have this show versions toggle. We can also go look at our permissions and we can see that we have block all public access is on. That means that no one can access our bucket. The only reason you would really want to have this turned off is if you were going to host a website in this bucket. Other than that, it's always best practice to keep this turned on. Finally, I will show you CloudFormation here, and we can go here and we can see that it's got this S3 bucket in it and it references that S3 bucket. Now with CloudFormation, we could just delete this stack because we opted to put the removal policy of destroy on the S3 bucket, and the bucket is also empty, which is another prerequisite for buckets to be destroyed either manually or by CloudFormation. We could go ahead and delete that stack here and it would delete all those resources. However, I'm going to show you how you can do it here in VS Code. So all we type is CDK destroy. Once again, I'm going to reference this profile. I don't know if we actually need to do it on CDK destroy. It might just reference wherever we just deployed it. We'll just go ahead and hit yes. All right, and that stack got destroyed. Then if we go back here to CloudFormation, we can refresh. We can definitely see that that stack got destroyed. And we can also confirm that because we had that removal policy destroy, it did indeed delete that S3 bucket. And you're all finished. All right, and that's it for the video today. If you guys have any other ideas for videos that you want me to make involving the CDK or anything AWS related, please let me know down in the comments. Thanks for watching.